Good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Man United take on Southampton, and there is no room at all for excuses for this Manchester United team today. Not in any way, not in any shape, and not in any form. A lot of excuses have been made in the last 24 to 48 hours. Talk of dressing room unrest, transfer policy reviews, laughing at the manager. All these things have been discussed. All these things have been put out there by the mainstream media. And a lot of Man United fans, I was in some spaces yesterday, have said cap, all cap. Clickbait, media headlines, shouldn't be taken seriously. Why are we all overreacting? Blah, 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 blah. Consistently the same thing over and over again. So deliver today. Southampton are a difficult team, but just beat them. Just beat them. Just get it done. Just win the game. There have been improvements in Manchester United's performances. There is no shadow of a doubt about that. The last 4 games, although Manchester United have drawn the last 2 matches, essentially lost because they went out on penalties, the last 5 games really, barring the Brentford performance, which was really poor up until the goals, 4 of our last 5 games, Manchester United have looked a much better team. More structure, more organisation, better play, more dominance as well. However, putting the finishing touches to those games, killing those teams off, has massively been lacking. And Southampton are a very, very good team. The likes of Armstrong and Adams have been excellent again this year. The midfield of Ward-Prowse and Romero, good, very good indeed. And of course, they've got 2 added bits of brilliance this year that have done great. Livramento in the right-back position has been very, very good. And of course, Broja up front on loan from Chelsea looks a star in the making. Very, very dangerous indeed. Manchester United need to be absolutely at the races. But there is no room for excuses. There is no room to make mistakes. There is no room for niceties here. There is no room for, yeah, but next time. Arsenal were in front of us with a game in hand. And don't play for about 10 days now. United play twice in the Premier League between now and then. They are must-wins. No more excuses. It's kind of strange to me, predominantly the people I see, there's some positive people that are always positive about Man United that have said these stories are cap, but they don't believe any story ever unless it's positive. So I do put them to one side. I've seen a lot of kind of Ollie outers play down this news, ex-Ollie outers, I suppose you can call them, play down that there's dressing room unrest. They think it's purely and utterly the media. I want them to be right. The feeling I have around the way we're behaving as a football club, I want it to be wrong every single day of the week. But today's the day. Today is the day. Stand up, make yourselves be heard, shut the media down, show the fans, don't forget the media, shut them up. But forget everybody else's opinions outside of United for a minute. Show the fans. We're behind Ralf. We're listening to Ralf. We can get the job done. In our last 2 matches alone, whether it counts as a statistical chance or an opening where we could have scored, United have been much better. It has simply been the finishing touches. Now, that's purely bad luck because everybody's listening to Ralf. Everybody's behind Ralf. None of the dressing room unrest, none of the player issues, the transfer policy. If none of this is true and it's just the media trying to make us look bad, it's going to click, isn't it? It's going to fall into place. There's going to be no problems. So we'll see today. But I'm saying this now and I'm putting it out there from the beginning. No more excuses. There are none. Southampton are a good team. They are a good team. There is no doubt about it. Average age of around 25 years of age. Good height, good strength. But we're playing at Old Trafford and Man United should be beating them. There is no element. When I look, now I'm just looking at the Southampton team now. It hasn't been announced. I'm talking about their probable lineup. That team shouldn't be beating Man United at Old Trafford. Should they create chances? Should they have openings? Should they have some good passages of play? Of course they should. It is completely ridiculous to expect a team with the quality they have to sit there and do nothing. But we should be winning. We should be winning. If these performances are proof that things are much better behind the scenes than the media are reporting, we're going to be fine. There shouldn't even be that much pressure on the team. It will click into gear and come good. The team must win today. Must. Absolutely must. Someone here says, Terry, thoughts on more Maguire leaking, more gossip to his brother and then to the press. I haven't read that anywhere. If you've got a link, bro, send me the information. I'll have a look at it. But again, my view on Maguire is very clear. Shouldn't be in the team. Lindelof, if he's around, should be starting today. His form is awful, but he is going to play. It's weird that he keeps playing. I don't understand it. And I'm behind what Ralph's doing, but that is the decision that he's making that I cannot, for the life of me, I just don't get it. I really don't understand why he continues to play him. It makes no sense to me at all. It really, really doesn't. It really, really doesn't. Bluey here says, Erland's father is believed to be encouraging the striker to join Man City over other potential suitors, as he is convinced it would be a perfect move. Of course, Man City is a perfect move. Like, legitimately, of course it is a perfect move for Haaland. They're one of the very best teams, in the world. The way they're run, the way they're structured. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Again, it's not even a weird story. It makes perfect sense. City probably right now, even on a pound for pound ratio, are probably one of the best run clubs in the world. And on a reality scale, they're probably the best run club in the world. Football comes first, more money than God, the best manager in the world right now, an amazing squad of players, brilliant system of football. Barring not having won a Champions League yet, there's nothing wrong with Man City. They're legitimately they're the epitome of the real deal. They're the epitome of it. And yeah, from my point of view, I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen at all. If you're watching on Twitter, by the way, give us a bit of a retweet. If you're watching over on Twitch, give us a follow. Give us a sub. If you're watching here on YouTube, you know the deal. Hit likes and share buttons. We're going to share the link now if you want to call in and have your say today. We are live after this game and live after the Chelsea's final this afternoon. So we're covering both those games today on the Football Terrace straight after live phone-in show for you, the fans, panel on as well. So it'll be really good to chat to you all after that point. But if you want to come on now and have your say, I'll put the comment, the link in our description below, which has been done into the live comment section. I pinned it as well. If you're watching on Twitter or Twitch, get yourself across to YouTube and get that link if you want to phone in and have your say on today's game. How do you think it's going to go? What do you think is going to happen? I want to hear from you. Here we go. Right. Nobody even cares about that story. Oh, look, people should care about where Haaland goes. Where Haaland goes impacts everybody, whether it's domestic or internationally. Legitimately, it impacts everybody. So, if you're a Liverpool fan, you've got to care where Haaland goes. Wherever Haaland goes, that team's chances of winning their league title and the Champions League, in my opinion, percentage-wise, increases by 20% likelihood, 30% likelihood instantly. As long as if he's fit for an entire season in a team like Man City, in a team like Liverpool, this kid's scoring 40 to 50 goals across all comps every season for at least 5-6 years. He is a phenom. A phenom. He really is. Morning, Sharek. You're calling from... When you say AE, is that A&E? As in, like, you're in the hospital? You okay? Hope you're good. That's how I'm reading. That's how it comes up on my screen. Hope you're good, bro. 2-1 to United. Bruno masterclass. Well, look, I hope that's the case. I hope it's a Bruno masterclass. I hope Man United do the business today. I hope Manchester United don't mess up today. I hope Manchester United deliver today. But I'm never overly convinced. I'm never, ever, ever, ever overly convinced that we'll get the job done like that. And this is the thing. I have seen that our performances have improved, but I've said all along, even if we had 3 or 4, 5 good performances on the bounce, good wins on the bounce, I'm not going to get carried away with we're back, because I was in a space yesterday. It was a really interesting space. The Don Hussam was hosting, and it's kind of weird to me. I think people get really sick and tired. I think rivals don't like you talking about the Glazers and the structure being the problem, because they feel like you're letting your players and managers off the hook. Everybody wants it to be players and managers that you are having a go at. And I do understand that, because I actually, someone on the space yesterday legitimately said, like, Maguire is the reason you're so bad as a team, which I think in itself is a fair enough it's a fair enough opinion to hold to a degree. Maguire is bad for Man United. However, what about all the years where we failed in the league, failed in the Champions League, failed to qualify for the Champions League and didn't win trophies when he wasn't here? This is what I mean. It's not... these things for me are so much more like complex than people want to kind of give them credit for. It's... nobody is saying that Maguire shouldn't be sold, but thinking selling Maguire and bringing in a better centre-back fixes Man United's problems is folly. And I just think sometimes rivals want to hear you just say my manager is crap. They want to hear you just say my players are crap. And some of them are, or have been. But the problem is, it's very hard to rant about that and then go, right, but that's it though. Get rid of those 3 players and that manager, and we're going to be fine. We're not Man City. You know, if Liverpool had a couple of players that were performing badly, you could just replace them and everything else is going to be fine. You've seen at Villa, because Villa's structure is good. They run well. The manager had kind of come to the end of his tenure. I think that the ideas have become a little bit boring. Players needed something new. They need something fresh. A manager comes in, but because they've already got a good ethos, because there's a good harmony, because there's a good culture, because there's a good structure, and they've added some extra quality players to it as well, and they've brought in a manager who has the same high standards as them, the turnaround's been almost instant for them. Because there's no deep-rooted underlying toxicity. Now, Everton is a different kettle of fish. They're not very well run. There's been absolute turmoil at board level for a long time at that football club. Players coming in that don't want to be here, managers coming in and leaving, players feeling ostracized, buying the wrong types of players. You throw Lampard into the mix, and what you're going to get is really sporadic results, because the core of the club is broken, as opposed to just a handful of small components on the football pitch. You know, think about it like a car. A player being an issue is like your light bulb going. Just put a new light bulb in. A busted tire, put a new tire on. But if I've got a busted tire, a broken light, and a crack in my windshield, but my engine is also broke, my engine is messed up, it doesn't matter. I can spend all the money I want fixing the lights, fixing the windscreen, putting new tires on, new rims, new body kit, put a sound system in the car. But if the engine is still broken, it doesn't matter. And that's what Manchester United do on a regular basis. And I think for me, that's why. What I know is that nobody wants to talk about the engine. They want to talk about how it looks, how it feels. Oh, please say Rashford's trash. That's what they want to hear. And I think it annoys people. That's all. Terry, I think you were 2 losses away from wearing a dressing gown and smoking ciggies on your live streams. Look, it's not even the losses for me. It's, again, I'm really pedantic about this. It's the fans I'm angry at. Stop focusing on low-hanging fruit and focus on the real problem. How much more evidence do you need? It's a madness to me. Mo's on the show with me now this morning. What are you saying, Mo?
Morning, Terry. No more excuses, just deliver now. I don't think this team can deliver, Terry. We've seen the past with this core group of players, apart from Cristiano Ronaldo, Jadon Sancho, and Varane. I'm talking about the core group of players. Do they have the minerals, the mentalities to deliver? I've seen it for the past 3 years. They don't. We've seen the Europa League final. We've seen in certain games where last year, for example, in certain games we need to win and they couldn't deliver. I don't have any confidence in this team. As I've said, I was one of those guys, Terry, where I was backing Harry Maguire. He'll come good. He's 80 million pounds. Come on, there must be a player in there. It's dawned on me that he's never going to come good, Terry. He's never going to get any better. It's a player that, unfortunately, we have to admit that we're going to have to take a hit on him. And we have to go out there and buy another defender next to Rafael Varane if you want to win a league title. He, for me, sums up Man United's problems on the pitch. I'm talking about the board level, everything. I mean, for me, he represents that. Mistake after mistake, goals after goals. A captain that he's not a leader. Maybe take the armband away from him, Terry. You know, it seems like he doesn't look like a natural captain, Terry. Give it to Bruno or Pogba. I mean, I don't know why they made him a captain. Maybe it was that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer British, you know, where they were getting that British mentality where we're going to buy only homegrown players now. Let's make a homegrown lad a captain. Yeah, I don't see Man United with his leadership on the pitch delivering anything.
Do you know what's interesting for me, mate? When I look at the situation with...
I'm not even digging him.
No, mate. I understand. I look at it from the point of view of this, right? I want to make sure I say this in the right way. I'm not going to change my tune and rewrite history. I was excited about Maguire coming in. I watched him play for England and I watched him play for Leicester, and I saw a very good defender. Not a world-class defender, but a very good defender. Was he overpriced at 80 million? I said yes, but again, I go back to what I spoke about back then. I said that eventually, like when we look at 80 million from Maguire, we in 5 to 6 or 7 years' time, we're not going to look at it and go, wow, that's massively overpriced, because at the time that was the trajectory of the transfer market. That all got slowed down for 2 years because of the pandemic. The money that, even though there's still loads of money in football, lots of money fell out of it. So we kind of flatlined in terms of transfer fees, but everything was on the way up. So I thought he was overpriced in terms of what fans valued things to be at, but I understood why he cost £80 million at the time. Pep Guardiola wanted him to replace Vincent Kompany. Leicester used these two big clubs fighting for a player to get what they wanted. You know, if nobody else wanted him, we would have probably got him for somewhere in the region of about 60 million, which would have maybe taken some of the pressure off. But either which way, that's all by the by. I thought he was a very good defender. I actually look back and I think his first season we improved overall as a defensive unit. I wasn't even bothered about him getting the captaincy initially. I don't think the initial decisions were wrong. What Man United have become, what's become a problem at Man United is when we make mistakes, we are not quick to rectify them. So when we saw that he was regressing under the pressures of being a Man United player, being the captain, mistakes were becoming more and more frequent. Instead of taking action to solve that, which in the short term may have looked harsh, but in the longer term helped him and the club, we've just let things fester and kind of like persist, as it were. You know, men have a bad habit of this with their health. I've got a problem. I found something that's scary. But instead of going to the doctors, having it checked, making sure they're okay, they let it fester. Sometimes it goes away. Sometimes you become seriously ill. And this is almost what we've done in terms of a footballing practice, is we've allowed this situation to manifest itself. So some will say, I never thought he was good enough. Some will say, well, I thought he started well and he's towered away. That isn't the crux of the debate. And again, fans get lost on, I was right, I told you he wasn't good enough. That doesn't matter to me. What I'm looking at is, why are we as a football club allowing a player that's playing awfully to continue to be in our team? Why are we not looking to move him on? You know, this is where we've hemorrhaged so much money on players. This is where I'm happy to hemorrhage money on a player when it's damaging us on the field of play. That's where you put that's where football should come before profit margins. But yet, you know, we let Javier Hernandez go for 7 million quid. But yet we're not prepared to lose money on a Harry Maguire who's damaging us. It's backwards. It's backwards.
Terry, the teams like Liverpool and City, like, I don't know, for United, we have certain problems in our team with our players, like the Paul Pogba situation where, he's 80 million, who's his right partner. There's always little problems with our mate superstar players. Harry Maguire, 80 million. But there's always an issue, like, with our star players for some reason, where I don't know what it is. We don't have that City and Liverpool, but they're better football. They're better run football club than we are. So we have to take that into consideration as well. We're one of the worst run football clubs in the world. But I'm tired of it, Terry. I'm tired of this Harry Maguire. I just want to see a good defender come in, whoever he is in the summer, if they do decide not to move him on. I don't know. Look, Terry, with the Harry Maguire situation, your guess is as good as mine on what they're going to do. I don't think they can move him on, Terry. I've always said it, and I'll stick by this. Harry Maguire was not bought to sell on. Harry Maguire was there to bought as a long-term defender, like a Rio Ferdinand, like Steve Bruce, Pallister, something like that, Terry, where you, because defenders they're hard to sell on when they get to a certain age. I mean, you saw it with Van Dijk. I don't know how much Van Dijk will go for now. You're probably still getting what, 60, 70 millions or 80 million for Van Dijk. They still have sell on value. With Harry Maguire, Terry, I think when Man United bought him, they never bought him with a sell on value. I think we're stuck with Maguire. And
No, and I hear you. I understand what you mean by
but we
that.
have to solve this problem.
But
If there is a
you're
good
right.
defender in there,
You're right though. You're right though. We won't because of business reasons. No, we bought him as long term, so he's going to stay long term. These are the problems at the club. There are times where you have to fall on your sword, and there are times when you. There are
take the
times when
hit.
you have to, and it doesn't even matter about the money. There's times you have to admit this signing flopped. This signing isn't good enough. This signing has to be, moved. Whether it's injuries, performances, all top managers. Look how many players even Pep has bought at City that haven't worked out. And straight away, they bought Bravo in, didn't work. So they went for Edison. It isn't like, imagine Man City had this attitude. Would City be as dominant if they had the attitude of, look, Pep, you've already bought 4 fullbacks, so you're not having any more. You already bought a goalkeeper, you're not having another one. Look, you dropped 100 million on Grealish. Okay, you've got Mahrez and Sterling and KDB and Silva. You are not buying any more creators and Foden. You're not buying any more. We're not going to get you Haaland because you dropped £100 million last year on a different star boy. Imagine that attitude at City. They would not be, they might still win titles, but they wouldn't be where they are now.
No.
And this is why I say to people, look beyond the manager and the individual player and focus upon the real root cause problems at this football club. Mo, great call, my friend.
Thanks,
I really
for having me on.
Mate, take care, bro. Thank you.
Bye.
We'll get a Liverpool fan's perspective in a minute of Alex. We've got Russell to come on the show as well. But make sure you're hitting that like button for us. We had a super chat here that for a member chat super chat from Starlord who says Man United will tonk Southampton today. I hope you are right. This is a crazy thing. I hope you're right. I just don't see it myself. Alex is here with us now. He's a Liverpool fan. What are you here to say, buddy?
Great show today, Terry. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, my friend. What's on your mind?
Right, so you can tell I'm a Liverpool fan. I just wanted to say, man, from Liverpool perspective, so I know you guys are getting a lot of grief. I'll tell you first and foremost, right? So it's sort of, to be honest with you, it's been 9 years, right? It was funny to begin with, watching United, drop and all that. But I'll tell you one thing, man. There's no pride in beating a team 5-0. If a boxer knocks someone down and his arm's already broken before the match starts, there's no point. We need you guys to get yourselves sorted out because United just can't go on like this. I don't know if I speak for most Liverpool fans, but we want proper rivalry. Like, it just can't go on like this. Just a bit about the game today, bro. I just wanted to say the fact that United concede and that their heads drop, that is a massive issue for you guys. I just don't know how that's going to get fixed. I don't know. I don't think it's fair to ask Ralf to try and fix that for you guys. That's been happening for the past, couple of managers. And the other thing with that is that, the fact that even if Southampton, let's say, go down 1-0, then there's a good that they'll know that there's a chance that the heads will drop, and that's just going to give them more confidence. Normally, if I was a betting man, I'd say United to wallop Southampton. To be fair, even as a Liverpool fan. But just knowing, that Southampton know that, even if they're 1-0 down, they know if they can squeeze one in, there's a chance that, they could start scoring more. It's shocking, honestly.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say is that you and other United channels as well, I've been following you guys, to be honest. I think the Glazers are the serious issue. So all this stuff about Ollie and, Maguire and all that, it won't work until you do what we did with Hicks and Gillette. There's no way to fix it unless the ownership changes, I have to say. I mean, you could bring in whoever you want, but until the owners change, what are you going to do? It's like you're patching up a wound.
No, mate, listen, I hear you. And a lot of people say things like, but if you can't get rid of them, stop moaning about them. It's like, yeah, but then I'm complaining about things that are a symptom of the issue. And what's the point of that? You know, it's an intriguing one. Listen, great call, Alex. And look, a few people in the comments are saying, why would any Liverpool fan want Man United to be successful? It's an interesting one. I look at it from this point of view. When Liverpool dropped out of the top four and they stopped being competitive for about a year, 2 years, it was great. It was banterous, but then it got to a point where I was like, kind of like miss my rivals being good. I grew up with going to Man United a lot, where Man United Leeds was a big game. The fact they disappeared for all those years, there were some Reds that were like, Sodom. It's funny seeing them all the way down there. But I kind of missed the Leeds Man United rivalry because, again, it's a nostalgic thing. And of course, when Man United play Liverpool, there is this rivalry. But I've said before, if Man United and Liverpool could go head to head in title races, it will be like nothing for a 2 or 3 year period. It'll be like nothing we've ever seen in the league before. And it'll be horrible, but brilliant at the same time. Alex, great call, my friend. Thanks for coming on and having your say, mate. I appreciate it loads. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, Terry.
Russell's on the show with us now. Russell's a United fan. What are you saying, mate?
Hey, Terry, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm good, my friend. What are you here to say?
Well, what else can I say? Man United fan, we're supporting United. We've got a game today. Where am I with United right now? I genuinely couldn't care less. Like, I'm not worried, but I've been a United fan for this long. I'm not going to stop watching them because they're crap and because they've basically, the players, when I say they've basically just thrown it all out the window because they just couldn't handle a manager coming in and calling them out. So as a fan, I'm supporting the badge in front, and I hope they do well. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get beaten by Southampton, and I'm worried about the set pieces, especially if Maguire is starting. I've seen this over and over again. I'm sure you will remember Ward-Prowse sinking our hearts time and time again, yeah? And then going to do the golf celebration or whatever it is he does. So, look, I'm just going to watch the game as a fan of the club. But, Terry, at this point, brother, I'm genuinely supporting United or watching United purely just because I've always done. But in terms of, is there anything drawing me to this game? Do I have any hope for this season? Look, man, last week we're in 2 cup competitions. This week we're in 1. It's possible that in about 2 weeks we're in none. So it is what it is, no?
Yeah, and I think that's very key. So I heard someone say yesterday in a space, they were like, United fans are spoiled and they're turning their back on their club. He's a Liverpool fan. And he was like, none of us stopped supporting Liverpool when we were going through hard times. And I'm just sort of like, but that ain't strictly true, is it? You know, all clubs go through these periods when their team's bad, like less fans at grounds, less dedication to things. You know, it's very easy to support your team when you're going through, when you're in a good period. And especially if you grow up and you're fortunate enough to pick a team that's really successful. Sometimes you know they're successful because you pick them in the middle of their success. When I picked Manchester United in 1989, they were not a successful team at all. If you went back to 1989 now and you lined up all the teams in the then first division and said to kids, pick the team you want, anyone who would have picked Man United in 1989 would not have been would have been called an idiot. So that's the irony of me being a Manchester United fan. I'm fortunate enough to be a vintage where I picked Man United before the Premier League even existed. So the Glory Hunter tag was always an interesting one for me. It's a bit like I got a friend actually who picked Man City as a team when we were kids. And I don't really know why. He just said, I want to support Man City. I think he did it to be a little different. He's loving it now. It took it 20 odd years, but it turned out to be a really good pick. But yeah, I hear you. I'm never going to turn my back on Man United. And one of the reasons I'm not going to turn my back on Manchester United is because I want to keep speaking what I believe to be the truth. I want to keep pushing the rhetoric. And it might take 20 more years for fans to actually start doing the right thing. But I'm not going to yield on my morality. I'm not going to step away. I'm not going to sort of step away and be like, well, I'm just going to stop watching, stop talking about it, stop preaching about it until it happens. And the reason I'm very passionate about it is because what football clubs mean, not just in this country, what football clubs mean to everybody in every town, in every country around the world. But it's the working class ethos. And that's what a lot of this is. I mean, I don't want to sound overtly political, but it's these billionaire leeches damaging a dynasty built by the working class people of Manchester and then supported by the working class people of the world. It really, really matters to me. Russell, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having sorry, bro. Sorry, I keep muting you. We're getting a real bad echo from your end. We'll chat to you again soon, Russell, and I'll speak to you in a bit. Top man. Sorry about that. The echo was starting to get really bad. Julian's with us now. What are you saying, Julian?
Hey, morning, Terry. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm very well, my friend. What's on your mind?
Good. I'm actually thinking, like, you're talking about the way that the team plays, all that kind of stuff. I'm actually thinking that maybe this is what needs to happen. The share price will drop. I don't know if they'll ever really sell, but if they really start losing money from the club, maybe that's going to make them invest. Yet again, it probably won't be their own money, but maybe it'll push them into doing things on the transfer market. I see Ralf has said that we definitely need a striker next window, but I think it needs to be more than that. I think striker is one thing with Cavani and with Ronaldo leaving. I think it's one area, but it's the entire. Yet again, I hate to fucking say it, but it's like we have to go through another rebuild with players going out. Sure, we got Marshall who's on loan. I can't remember who else went on loan. But he'll be coming back, so maybe he'll be an improved player at the time. But maybe this is what we need, man. I don't know. Like, I was having a very interesting chat with a friend of mine who's been a Liverpool supporter his whole life, and I try to explain. He says that Ralf isn't the right pick, and he was arguing with me that he's not the right manager. But I said to him, like, this isn't our manager as well. I think if we bring in a proper full-time manager, the players will have absolutely no reason to argue with his methods, because I think with Ralf being the stand-in caretaker manager for us until the next window, I think that has given them the extra time to keep doing the things that they believe is what they need to do, and that they don't need to listen to the manager because he's not going to be there in that role full time. So I don't know. This was just something that was on my mind. I thought I'd call through. I think we face some very interesting times. I hope we win today. I'm going to be off at a mate's birthday, and I think they'll have the match on the TV there. So I'll be watching as I celebrate, and hopefully it will be an extra thing to celebrate today. It'd be really nice to get a win, and with Arsenal having the game in hand, and with us playing, like you say, 2 matches until their next match. If we lose any of these matches, it's going to be so hard to get into top 4.
Exactly, and it's about putting that pressure on Arsenal today. It's about applying that pressure, and you want them coming back. You want them to be 6 points. Yes, they have 3 games in hand, but you want to have a 6-point gap because that makes their games absolute must-wins. And that's more. If they're level on points with us or 1 or 2 points behind us with 3 games in hand, it's easy street for Arsenal. They can afford to lose 2, get 2 of those 3, and win 1. And they're ahead of us. That isn't the kind of, you don't want insurance policies for me, like for players like that. But great points, Julian. Thanks for calling in and having your say, mate. Really appreciate it. Top man. Thank you. Morden here says, Terry waffling. We still supported Liverpool through the hard times, hence why United are in the mud now. It's more gratifying. So again, look, you got to understand what I mean by support. I'm not saying people just started supporting other football teams. Again, it's a very binary, polarized viewpoint. I'm talking about diehard Scousers. I know that I was part of the sort of kickboxing teams I was in. It's conversations with them around. They didn't stop being Liverpool fans, but were they as active? Were they as interested? Did they individually go to as many games? Were they as ingrained in the day-to-day running to the club? Were they interested in the stories that were going on? Were they following what rivals were doing? Were they completely bought in and as dedicated to the Liverpool cause? I'm talking anecdotally here. No, and a lot of Liverpool fans of my generation, older than me, when Liverpool went through their real tough times, especially on the Hicks and Gillette, felt like that. But what Liverpool supporters did was fight back against those owners, protest, stop them attending games. They were noisy about it, and they helped to force them out. And this has always been the case where teams go through bad periods. When your club's being run poorly, there can be a huge disconnect for some people. Others mobilize and become active, and they push back and they fight back. No one has suggested that people literally stopped supporting the club and went, I don't support them anymore. That claim was never made. So I apologize if that's how it sounded, my bro. But look, I'm just speaking anecdotally about things that I saw and read, and just really intriguing. One thing that bothers me, it's not the right word. Everything that came before the boom of social media is sometimes difficult to quantify because the evidence isn't readily available. Like right now, a lot of Man United fans are saying things like, I feel disenfranchised from the club. This isn't the team that I grew up supporting. And they're talking about the way it's run, the way it behaves, the issues at the club. That's all it's documented now. Arsenal fans, it's documented. In 20 years' time, because everything's now documented, there's like a digital footprint. It's going to be intriguing if Man United are back at the top of the tree And I won't use Liverpool because it will trigger people, but City are kind of in the doldrums because they've gone for a really bad period. And it'll be interesting. You'll get United fans that will say, "I'd never ever turn away from my club," but we'll be able to prove that, or I'd never lose interest, or I'd never feel disconnected, or anything like this. But we'll be able to pull up now. It'll be a lot easier than it. Because back in all the stuff from like the 80s and the 90s and the early noughties, if a journalist didn't say it, it's very hard to quantify because there's no documentation of it. Now, fan opinion is documented everywhere. So it's going to be, you'll get a City fan and go, "You're liars. Look at you back in 2022. Your fans are saying the same thing." I think it's quite a normal reaction. A lot of people call United fans spoiled. But maybe it's my age and the fact that I've had face-to-face conversations with supporters of all different clubs that have gone through these sort of stages of turmoil. The reaction from Man United fans right now is fairly stereotypical with that. Go back and look at Chelsea before the Roman era and how many Chelsea fans were disillusioned. How many Chelsea fans supported the club, but they weren't diehard because they hated the way the club was being run. I think it's fairly normal myself. But yeah, there we go. Oh, it's the funniest comment here. It's so funny that he said here. He says, "Just like we can pull up stuff that you said that was wrong." And Joe, we all do that, Paul. Do you know what's really interesting? If any YouTuber, and I'll use myself, any fan content creator that is scared of getting something wrong shouldn't be doing this as a hobby, as a job, as a pastime, whatever it may be. Because when 80% of our work is talking about stories, reacting to games, predicting what's going to happen, most people get stuff wrong. There's one guy that I follow that literally every time he gets something right, he shouts it from the biggest hill. And it's like, bruv, there's countless things that you got wrong. And that's the same for everybody. Even if you sit down and like listen to some of the better football pundits that are professionals that we all respect, go back and review the predictions they've made, how many have come right. It's normal. So it's not so much about pulling things up people got wrong, because everybody gets things wrong. Everybody ends up in the mud with the prediction. And you'd be a very weak person to try and deny that. It's more about proving moments in the sense of somebody saying, "No way did any Man United fan or a group of Man United fans ever want their owners to sell the club." And you can pull up, well, look, the protests, the campaigns, the video footage, it proves that happen. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, rather than, Terry, you said 16 years ago that Man United would win a final when they lost. Therefore, you don't know football. Getting score predictions wrong or predicting that a player is going to be good versus a player that's not going to do well, that's not a determination of someone's football knowledge. I do hope football fans realize that. Like some seem to not, which is strange. And then they gravitate to certain content creators who get equally as much wrong. Like, yeah, they're always right. And I'm like, bro, I remember that guy saying X, Y, and Z. And that's normal. It's weird. Some people are very strange to me. Very strange. You're just obsessed with the Glazers, and I absolutely should be. There we go. Liverpool is the biggest club in England, 48 major trophies. The United second with 45. Thank you very much for reminding us of that this morning, my friend. I appreciate it. Mohammed's with us now. Mohammed's an Arsenal fan. What are you saying, mate?
Hi, Terry. I wanted to talk to you because, we're in similar situations, bad owners, and a very confused fan base. Even with our fan base, even after how many years we went with the league, we're still blaming the players, we still blame the manager, still blame the board. And as a rival fan, I want you guys to keep, blaming Harry Maguire. You keep blaming Rashford. I want you guys to keep carrying on, because I think maybe after, I think we've gone now, 2004 is the last time we won the league. So how long that's been, maybe after 6 more years, maybe then your fans will maybe start to realize the bigger picture. But yeah, these owners, man, they just deceive you. They put these new toys in front of you, and you just get blurred, and you forget to see the real problem. But yeah, as long as the Glazers. But one thing saying that is, you see Liverpool's model. I think the Glazers, there is a chance the Glazers can work if maybe they put the right people in charge. But the problem with sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just nodding in agreement. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So but the only problem with what United do is that it's like you guys hire internally, or sometimes the you hire some very confusing people, like was it Darren Fletcher and this Ralf Rangnick thing. It looks really good from the outside, but what's a consultancy role like? What does that mean? Does that just mean he's gonna be like a phone call? Oh, Ralf, what do you think about this? Or Is he going to have a greater power? Like, is he going to have less power than Danfield? That's what the worry is with Ralf Rangnick.
I hear you completely. And I said it on a space yesterday. If we hire right, we can become successful again because the Glazers have won league title. The Glazers were here when we won 3 on the bounce. The Glazers were here when we won a Champions League. We got to 2 more Champions League finals. We are able to do it, and the club has started to invest more like that. If you listen to Wayne Rooney's documentary, he speaks very candidly about that period when Ronaldo left until Fergie retired, that sort of 4 or 5 year period. The club didn't invest right. We have invested right since then. Financially, we've invested, but we haven't structured it correctly. If you go back, if between 2009 and 2013, you gave Fergie £150 million a summer to spend on players, not only would we I think we'd won at least 1 more league title. We may have had a squad that was capable of winning at least another 1, maybe 2 Champions Leagues because we got to 2 finals, but we just lacked. We were starting finals with like Michael Owen past his best on the bench, Valencia in the team, a very old and aging defense and midfield. And the only reason we started spending bigger money after Fergie retired was because all the new TV deal came in. People have got to look at these data points. Real data points. Man United's spend only increased when all the new £1 billion TV deal money came in. If that new TV deal didn't hit and we were being paid the same as we were 9-10 years ago, United would be so much further down the pecking order right now. So there is an absolute chance that Manchester United can get back with the Glazers being here, but you just need the right people to run your job. Point being this, I couldn't run a restaurant. I don't know how to run a restaurant. I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to manage a restaurant. If I won the lottery that I wanted to buy a restaurant, and I got one of the best restaurant managers in London and one of the best head chefs and his team from France and put them in my restaurant, it'd probably be successful because they know what they're doing. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's like you can make anything a success. You just need to bring in people that know what they're doing and you give them the power to run it in their image. It's so simple. It is so simple. But
it's like the FSG model, basically summed up, is what they did.
Yeah, no, listen, I absolutely. They took them time, but they got it right. And they realized we can be more successful and make more money through making football the priority. And that's what needs to be sold to these Glazers. The Glazers need to have it sold to them. You're all about making money. It all needs to be, we can make you even more money if we win these things. Someone's got to sell it to them, like a business plan. Like you're making £250 million a year at the football club through all these different mechanisms. Someone's got to work out a way how winning on the football pitch and winning trophies can make them 350, 400 million a year. Someone's got to be able to compute that to them and show them. And and if they could do that, they're buying into anything. They only care about making money. So someone's got to go in, and that's why it's crazy to me that no one's done that yet. No one's convinced them that winning trophies can make you even more money. It's crazy. Mohammed, top man, thanks for coming on and having your say. And everyone that's tuned into the show. Cheers, mate. We're back live after the game finishes. Make sure you hit the like button, retweet button, follow button before you go. We're live at full time to see whether Manchester United can get those 3 points today. Until next time, take care. Goodbye.